Hey, what's up, y'all? I'm Amir. Today we're going to be doing a 5-year comparison between the iPhone 12 Pro Max versus the 17 Pro Max. First, let's do a speed test. Which one's going to boot up faster? Alright, here. Now, this iPhone 12 Pro Max has a 6GB of RAM and an A14 Pro chip. This surprisingly booted up faster than the 17 Pro Max with the A19 Pro chip and 12GB of RAM. Now let's unlock them, both of these phones. Just give me a moment. Give me a moment. Let's make sure. As y'all can see here, they're both booted on. Now let's do some application tests with this device here. Which one's gonna boot up faster? Let's start with YouTube. Which one's gonna boot up faster, and then we're gonna talk about both of the specs and moreover the performance and the hardware itself. Of course, the 17 Pro Max opened faster, so 1 point on that. And yeah, now let's talk about the specs moreover. This device, the 12 Pro Max, was released in 2020, and I believe so, September of 2020. Apple unveiled it. It has a stainless steel body with a glass back and a ceramic shield on the front. This was the first iPhone that came with a ceramic shield. Yeah, so, and it's the first, I think they did some upgrades on the cameras as well. Yeah. Now, let's talk about the 17 Pro Max here, the differences. They brought back aluminum, which is kind of a bummer and kind of a pro. There's like pros and cons to this. The cons, of course, are the durability, but the pros is the overheating issues that previous iPhones had. And yeah, now let's talk about moreover the specs here. And this is actually the first iPhone. I mean, like the first iPhone was the 15 Pro that came with a Type-C. They finally converted it to Type-C, but as we can see here, it's not on the 17 Pro Max. And there's a camera button here, but I don't really find a point. That was released on the 16 Pro Max, I believe so. Yeah. Now let's talk about moreover the specs here. This finally has a triple 48 megapixel camera, the 17 Pro Max, and this has a 12 megapixel camera. They actually, and this is the first iPhone to ever come with a 18 megapixel center stage camera, as you can see here. Well, this doesn't, of course, but it can zoom out. It has the ultra wide. I believe this was the first iPhone to have this feature. But yeah, so in terms of they feel like the 17 Pro Max feels heavier than the 12 Pro Max in terms of weight. I believe so because of the aluminum, or I don't know what, the new 5000 milliamperes battery. Now let's talk about the battery. This was the first iPhone to come with a 5000 milliampere. Well, this I believe so has like a 3800 or 4000, I believe so. Yeah, but it wasn't pretty great. It was the 12 Pro Max was known to have battery issues, draining issues, especially on iOS 15 when that came out. The 13 Pro Max came out. So yeah. Now let's talk about the specs here. As y'all can see here, the difference is pretty obvious. This has a 6 GB RAM on the A14 Bionic chip, which is at 2.99, basically 3 gigahertz, while the 17 Pro Max has a 4.26 gigahertz with the A19 Pro. And a 12 gigabytes of RAM, and both of them are running iOS 26.2.1. So yeah, as you can see, the 17 Pro Max obviously is going to feel snappier due to the ProMotion display, and the resolution feels better, low-key. This has a higher resolution and 3000 nits. Finally, the first iPhone with 3000 nits. And yeah, the 12 Pro Max, as you can see here, which one is brighter? The 17 Pro Max is obviously more brighter device here. And this has a 60 Hertz display, so it feels choppier, especially as you can see, feels choppier than the 17 Pro Max. And of course the A14 Bionic, the A19 Bionic helps with that on the 17 Pro Max to make it feel more snappy. And yeah, now let's talk about the body weight itself, the durability here. The iPhone 17 Pro Max has a ceramic shield too on the back glass here, and this was the first iPhone that comes with a full unibody aluminum and just a glass window on the back here, which I really like that more than the full glass back, which is very fragile. So people who like to use their phones without cases can use this phone freely, but except the fact that it is less durable and cause dents if you drop it. Yeah, while the 12 Pro Max has a stainless steel aluminum, but it is very, very, very durable, to say the least. But the yeah, so ceramics. This was the first phone that the iPhone that released ceramic shield, the full introduction of ceramic shield. This was the first iPhone that came with the ceramic shield, the first generation. Well, this is the first iPhone that came with the second generation. So a massive difference. There's a massive gap here. But iPhone is pretty well, you barely know the difference, except for the fact this has a 120 Hertz ProMotion display with a more higher brightness peak and a better battery life. So yeah, and this was the first iPhone to come with a 5G baseband chip, I believe so. Actually, iPhones are really good with optimization. I don't feel any lag here, but this started to feel choppy a little bit. But when you scroll around here on the home screen, it feels fine. Well, it's if you never tried an iPhone 17 Pro Max or a phone with a ProMotion display with a 120 Hertz display, this is fine. But when you try a 17 Pro Max, you feel a huge difference. Like you can tell this is a night and day difference. So yeah. Moreover, this goes used for $480, while this brand new cost starting from $1,099, basically $1,200, I believe so. That's for the Pro Max. If you're going for the Pro, it'll only be $1,100, starting from 256 gigabytes. But what I have here is a 512. So yeah, depending on specifications, what type of carrier you're getting this from, and yeah. While the 12 Pro Max is still a pretty solid device, but the support is cutting very soon. I believe so. iOS 28 is going to be the last software this device supports, while the 17 Pro Max got 7 more years, I believe so, or 6 more years. So yeah. And this was the first iPhone to come with a LiDAR sensor. Yeah, and this is the first iPhone with the camera plateau. This is where the motherboard sits, by the way, and it was the first iPhone that has a vapor chamber. And in terms of temperature, I can tell there's a huge difference in between, and speed is pretty accurate, not gonna lie. Here in the Face ID department, just give me a moment, y'all. As y'all can see here, let's test the speed of the Face ID. Oh, the 17 Pro Max was kind of hanging here. Let me do this again. Give me all a moment. So yeah, about the same speed, so no difference on that department. And the iPhone 12 Pro Max, there's a massive difference here. They removed the mute switch with a action button, firstly on the introduction on the 15 Pro Max. And yeah, but I kind of miss this. But this has more practicality and more like features you can do more with it. I really like that from Apple. And the camera, actually I use it personally when I'm holding like something else on my other hand. So yeah, it's actually a pretty nice feature. But it's not necessary, of course. Hopefully the iPhone 18 will bring more. I believe so. I heard like they're gonna remove the dynamic island. And by the way, this was the first iPhone with a, I believe, a smaller notch, or it's actually the same notch as the 11 Pro Max. I'm not really sure. You can correct me on this one. And the iPhone, this has a dynamic island, which is nicer than the notch, which is going to disturb you when you're watching a video like this, a YouTube video or a show. Well, this kind of is still disturbing, but it's less, if you know what I mean. And this is this has a SIM card. The 12 Pro Max has a SIM card, while the iPhone 17 Pro Max no longer has a SIM card. Yeah, so is the iPhone Air. No matter which country you bought it from. So it depends on that. Maybe there is like a version you can get a SIM card with. I believe so. But the first the first time they removed the SIM card was in the 14 series. I believe so. Correct me on that if my like resource is wrong or. Alright. Alright, y'all, that's going to be it. I'm gonna catch y'all in the next video. Peace.